I want you.
Halloween is the time of year when ghosts and goblins come out to play, and it's all fun and games, right? But what if there's more to the attraction than actors and special effects? What if the scare becomes real, and it even knows your name? That's what the staff at one haunted attraction say has happened.
I've come up here when the alarm's gone off and we can't figure out what's going on, and had to walk through here by myself and make sure the windows are closed and the doors are closed. And it really and truly feels like something is watching or following you.
I could feel like there was somebody behind me. After a minute, I felt just something just touch the back of my head, sent chills all the way through my body.
The workers and other people that come and work on the haunt, they do not like coming in this building.
It's meant to be scary, but it's also scary to people who are, who are here working. I mean, it's just a spooky place.
If you've ever been with somebody in the dark and it feels like you can feel them kind of close in on you, like you can feel like they're right next to you. You can't see them, but you can feel they're next to you. That sensation happened, and I heard my name as clear as somebody standing right beside me.
I won't come in here by myself. It'll make the hair on my back stand up quick.
And I'm walking down the hallway and I hear someone call my name, like I'd done something wrong. So I go back thinking maybe I'd messed up laundry because Paul was with me. I said, "What?" And he goes, "What?" I said, "You called my name." He goes, "No, I didn't." And I could tell, like, he was serious. He hadn't called my name. It's bad enough to be here, but the fact that they might know you by name, it's terrifying.
That place is haunted. That place is crawling with it. It's a very real thing to me, for sure.
Is it possible that a haunted attraction like Atrox Factory could attract spirits of the dead? And if the haunting is real, what does it all mean? Stay with us as we go behind the scenes and hear from those who know Atrox Factory best. Then follow the paranormal experts who may have captured conclusive evidence that there's more than just the living walking these halls. That's what we're here to find out. You're watching Dark Files as we investigate Atrox Factory. Just outside of Birmingham, Alabama, is the small town of Leeds, home to Atrox Factory. It's a sprawling complex and widely considered one of the best haunted attractions in the country. When Paul Johnson purchased the building and began constructing Atrox Factory over 20 years ago, he thought the building was just an empty warehouse on the edge of a sleepy southern town.
We got very lucky when we got this building. It had the things we needed, but it was also big enough to expand, and we have done that. As far as we know, it's still the largest haunted attraction in the Southeast. It's around 50,000 square feet, and this was all, at the time, it was supposed to be just fun.
And what started as fun has become an increasing source of genuine fear.
And it really started here probably 2004. We started having some things move and unexplained electrical issues, but not just with me. It was a lot of the staff was having certain things happen.
We've had people tell us that bringing in objects like from a morgue table or from autopsy rooms could have something that follows it with it. We don't know. And that's what we're trying to find out to answer our questions.
Pat Long has been with Atrox Factory from the beginning, and tonight the haunt is open with thousands of guests waiting to be scared. He's in the security office, monitoring a network of cameras that record every inch of Atrox Factory. In addition to the cameras, The security office contains signal boxes so actors can alert if there's an issue in their scene. Nothing happens in Atrox Factory that isn't monitored from the security office. And these cameras might hold the key to discovering what or who is behind the strange occurrences.
The morgue locker we've had, funny things happened. A couple of years ago, we were up on a Tuesday night before we were open, and about 10:30, one of our alarm systems went off, a technical or a medical call. Nobody was in the haunt. We didn't think much about it. The next morning we came in, the morgue table that weighs over 500 pounds was moved about 3 feet. And the cameras went off at 1:36, and for about 45 seconds there was a motion. But at that time we didn't have any infrared or any way of seeing what the cameras were picking up. We don't know what caused the morgue table to move.
Most of the time it's something has moved, and I'm calling somebody the next day and I'm going, hey, did y'all move this? It's like, no, nobody's been up there. So I just think when we start up here, it doesn't seem that way, but the more that we're up here during the season, I think the more they want to come out and play.
At that time, the cameras used inside of Atrox Factory lacked night vision infrared capabilities, so we may never know what moved this table. Since then, all cameras have been upgraded, and strong infrared lights are throughout the grounds. Even in total darkness, these cameras see everything. Numerous oddities have been spotted on the cameras at Atrox Factory, including this ghostly shadow figure. The actor near the top of the frame is unaware of this unexplained object or force only feet away. Video experts have ruled out dust and flying insects and are unsure of what might have been recorded.
I do have that feeling that, it's not necessarily the building itself, but the things that we've brought in here. And during the month of October, it's high emotion. We are working to scare people. We are working to show them a good time, of course, but when you work on people's fears and you work on, some entertainment value for that, I feel like it leaves a trace of that behind.
It's really weird because those little things happen to us here, but the people that come up here to do plumbing and electrical, roofers, people that work inside the building, a lot of times when nobody's here, they've experienced things. And some of the people don't want to come up here and work because of that.
On the top of the roof, there's a metal framed windows. They fold in or out. One of the windows was cracked a little bit, and we were going to try to go ahead and open it all the way. Couldn't get it to move. Went on down to the end, it just slammed open really hard, boom, and stopped. All the way open, just on its own. We were 40 foot away from it. It's all by itself. I went down the ladder. I left on that one. Yeah, Atrox is for real.
My first trip up here, I think it was 2012, 2014. I can't remember what year it was, but we were working on Zombie Hallway, and it started getting dark. I couldn't see what was going on, and this building creaks and it makes noises. This place is spooky without anything in it. I've heard doors slam on the other end of this building just about every occasion, and it's just me here.
It's just a feeling that you're being watched. Not like do a better job or we're keeping an eye on you, but we know you're there.
More than just being watched, this worker experienced something that told him he was not alone.
I'm walking through and what I smell is a sweet, spicy cologne. It wasn't contemporary. It wasn't anything that I've smelled that they sell today. You turn, there's nothing. Just come in, do the job, and go home.
Perhaps the most terrifying event at Atrox Factory happened in this room. An electrician and their helper were working when they claimed they were confronted by the ghost of a uniformed security guard. The electrician refuses to come back to Atrox Factory or be part of this film.
My electrician said they heard a noise, and it was like keys. And they thought it was Paul. And it stopped sort of outside the door here. And when they opened the door, this gentleman was standing there, and it didn't seem right. He had big old burly sideburns that you normally don't see. Is something like you'd see somebody in the 60s or 70s. His clothes looked a little dated, and he looked like a security guard. The gentleman said, "What are y'all doing here?" Our electrician looked at him and said, "Mr. Johnson told us to replace this light." And the gentleman said, "Okay, I'm just checking." Turned around, walked back down the hall, and they stopped, they looked, and they watched him walk into the queue room. And when they turned around to look in the queue room, he was gone. All the doors were locked. They were the only two here. And our electrician does not want to come back.
Is it possible that the spirit of a guard that once watched over the old factory still walks these halls? Could that explain why those who enter this building feel like they are being watched and followed? Even in the day, Atrox Factory seems to be alive.
As part of working on this film, we've been out here at Atrox dozens of times. We've interviewed people, we've heard their stories, we've shot in every single corner of it. And honestly, I wasn't sure what I felt or what I believed. I came out here one evening and was one of the very first people in the building. There were 2 or 3 people behind me, nobody in front of me. The building was empty. We had just turned off the alarm. And I come down through this hallway and I heard a voice cry out, and I don't know what to think.
What did it say?
It said, "You're all dying."
As word quietly spread of the suspected paranormal activities, multiple ghost hunting groups have come to Atrox Factory looking for answers. One of the first to examine the disturbing occurrences was local newspaper writer and ghost hunter Kelly Graff.
It is a very intense site. There were a couple of times we thought we had heard a voice say, "Over here." Just quickly, "Over here." I felt more like it was "We're here, and we know you're here." I never felt like it was necessarily that we were in any type of danger.
The building was constructed in the 1940s as a factory to manufacture men's clothing. In the shadow of World War II, the factory provided work and a steady paycheck for residents in this small town and recent immigrants who had escaped Nazi Germany. By most accounts, it was the perfect workplace. But stories of severe injury and labor disputes suggest that things weren't always as they seemed. What dark secrets might this building really hold?
There was an employee that did commit suicide on the side of the property.
Do you know where that happened in the property?
It's a shop area up here to the right. Yes, sir.
According to reports, this is the area where someone took their own life by hanging. Could this be one of the spirits that haunts Atrox Factory today? And this room, marked by personal tragedy, is where Kelly's investigation took a dark and disturbing turn.
That area of the building should have had a stable temperature at the time. And we had a fluctuation of around 6 to 7 degrees from one side of the room to the other, not front to back, from the left side of the room to the right side of the room.
There's places in here that even today, I don't like going in. I'll go around the complete haunted house to get away from some of the areas because I have that feeling when the hair goes on the back of your neck and you get that, it's either cold or it's hot or you might smell something. That's the stuff I don't like.
I wouldn't want to spend the night here.
I'd never heard any voice, any type of paranormal activity until I came here to Atrox. Never even been scared of any of that stuff until here at Atrox.
Hairs on my arms, they stand up when I walk in the door.
And I really want to know why they're here. Is there something that they're trying to tell us? Is it something that they're wanting? I would love to find out what it is. I don't particularly like it. I'm not a fan of it. But in the 21 years I've been here, they've never harmed anybody. So I think whatever it is good. It's nothing bad.
Disembodied voices calling out in the darkness. Large objects that move on their own. And the pervasive feeling that you're being watched. And one about this ghostly figure caught on camera. Could this really be good? Or is the team at Atrox Factory unaware of the true nature of the power within these walls?
Want a light?
We reached out to the Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group, who agreed to come to Atrox Factory for an initial visit. The advanced team is husband and wife Les and Abby Rayburn. Les is a skeptic, while Abby claims to be a sensitive who can see and hear the dead. If they feel there is sufficient evidence, a full investigation will be scheduled.
I've only really had 2 spikes.
They work to rule out environmental factors like high levels of carbon monoxide gas or radiation from electrical lines. These are known to cause hallucinations, anxiety, suicidal tendencies, or depression, and have been the underlying explanation for other supposed hauntings. Their training and experience as paranormal investigators tell them to look for the obvious before looking for the unknown. But as we walk backstage at Atrox Factory, Abby begins to feel uneasy.
I think this is the same person that was in there. Because it's really heavy, it's really, makes you feel nauseous.
Unknown to her, this is the same room where a suicide took place many years ago. The investigators were not given any indication of suspected paranormal hotspots within Atrox Factory. Yet they had no problem finding the areas connected to ghostly events, including the antique morgue table that has been known to move without human intervention.
This is a very heavy, dizzying room.
Even Les the skeptic is increasingly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't like this whole part of the building. And I'm getting no CO, nothing that would explain it, rationally.
Unknown to him, this place will later bring him face to face with terror. Industry experts claim that over 33 million people visit haunted attractions each year, and Atrox Factory ranks near the top of that list in terms of visitors and the intensity of the scares. The sets are realistic, and the experience is immersive. Every detail is designed to bring guests face to face with their nightmares. But when the special effects are turned off and the actors go home, it should just be an old building with twisted hallways and empty scenes.
Wow.
Yet Atrox Factory somehow continues to echo with an energy that affects those who work and visit here. For these reasons, a full investigation by the Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group has been quickly organized. They feel that the sheer number of eyewitness accounts and other evidence indicate that somehow this building and the objects within it are alive with an intelligence that we don't fully understand.
My name is David Higdon. I'm the founder of the Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group. We've been doing this since 2005. If I hear cases of a paranormal activity at a certain location, I try to get the team in there as quick as possible.
David and his team have done investigations across the country and have appeared in several television programs. The group will spend the night in Atrox Factory and attempt to identify and communicate with the forces that seem to haunt these homes. But based on the sheer size of the building, the team knows the odds may not be in their favor.
You can do whole investigations and not get a thing. You can do 2 or 3 in a row and get nothing. And a lot of people don't have the patience for that. But when you do get something, it's really exciting.
The team employs a variety of specialized equipment for their investigation at Atrox Factory. Les Rayburn from the advanced team is the technology expert for the group.
We have EMF detectors, which detect electromagnetic fields. This normally is caused by man-made electrical devices and things, but sometimes you'll be in an area where there is no power, there's really no explanation for it, and you'll get changes in the electromagnetic field. We have some similar devices that'll detect movement. Most of the work we do is in the dark, so you'll see a lot of infrared technology just like these. These are illuminators. Probably our biggest stock in trade is we do a lot of audio recording.
The team sets up 2 command centers within Atrox Factory. One in the cast room, where actors normally put on their makeup and costumes, and another in a dark hallway near the queue room. From these 2 posts, the team will monitor their night vision cameras, while others spread out in the darkness in search of the unknown. And a few members of the team even expressed trepidation for what may lie ahead.
I'm leery of Atrox. If you were to lock me in all night and I had no resources, even I would be scared.
While most of the team relies on technology, Abby uses her gifts as a sensitive, and that poses another level of challenges.
Atrox is very interesting to me because being a sensitive, I can walk into a room and if it takes my breath away, if I just gasp, there's usually something there. At times it's scary because you see a lot of scary stuff that you don't really want to tell people. Other times it's really interesting because you get spirits that they just like hanging out. They're just there. So hopefully somebody will come and talk to us and we can get Paul some good evidence tonight.
Craig and Abby decide to concentrate on areas of the building with the highest level of reported activity, and their efforts quickly pay off.
If that's you out in this dark hallway trying to communicate with us,
It's definitely someone walking around.
But more than footsteps, as Craig and Abby sit in the darkness, they seem to have heard a series of whispers and voices. We have boosted those voices to make them easier to hear and understand.
Y'all heard that, right?
somebody talking or something?
They can hear us. It's as if the spirits are taken aback that their presence is known.
Y'all heard that, right?
Somebody talking or something?
Abby, myself, were in the funeral parlor room. Just started hearing whispering, like very, very sentient human whispering. You would not have been able to pick that up unless you were sitting, as quietly as possible.
And it seems like, too, at Atrox, there are certain areas that are just like heavily concentrated in some paranormal activity. They're obviously wanting to reach out, and so maybe that's one way that, you know, we're kind of even unaware of, is they're, you know, drawing us in.
All stations, y'all check in, tell me when you're ready to go.
And on the other end of Atrox Factory in the sci-fi area, Les is about to endure a nightmare unlike anything he has experienced before.
This is session number 2. John, David, Les, and Brian is operating camera.
He is sitting in total darkness, hoping to hear or see any evidence of the unknown. But as he conducts his investigation, a strange force comes over him. To the video crew and his fellow investigators, all appears normal, but to Les, it was unlike anything he has ever experienced before.
The only way I can describe it was I knew I was sitting there, and I heard a sound. It almost sounded like somebody had sat down next to me. I saw like a very, very pale green illumination. And at first I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, and then I saw it again. The only way I can describe it was almost like 10 or 15 minutes went by, and I had no memory of what had happened.
Yeah, the mood's changed a little bit. He's one of those people that if he says something's going on, something's going on.
When I became cognizant that something was wrong, I thought, okay, well, I just got to snap out of it. And I could, and I was like, I have to get out of here.
I'm confused. Did you get dizzy? Or?
No, I just...
We lost recollection of time.
It was like, oh wow, 15 minutes have gone by, and I have no memory of what happened.
That's not normal for Les.
For something to happen to him with that much force and that much just emotion behind it,
it can be concerning.
Very.
The emotions were intense, and the feelings of vulnerability were real. What were the investigators dealing with? Abby and Craig had documented voices calling out in the darkness, and Les had just encountered an unknown energy that overwhelmed his senses. The team decided to step outside for a well-needed break. While away, they would leave their recording devices running. With no one inside Atrox Factory, what would happen? Again, there is no one inside Atrox Factory when this human voice is clearly heard. Listen again. Some suggest that the voice is saying Papa, but we may never know. And a night vision camera captures this strange visual phenomenon. It clearly isn't dust and doesn't appear to be a moth or other insect. Watch as it appears from the storage shelves and arcs towards the camera. Atrox Factory is alive with the unknown.
I don't know if you ever been into, like you hearing a couple arguing in the next room, and you walk in and you got that feeling, it's like, okay, what just happened in here? This is what it feels like inside this building.
There's obviously something going on here.
With the energies that places like this really bring, I could see some spirits coming in.
I knew there was something going on here. Most people that worked up here for all these years have known that. We just treat them as family, I guess, and when we come here, we're, if there's some noise going off or doors closed, it's part of the attraction. We just are like, okay, and we move on.
Am I afraid of the building? I have been in the building in the dark doing the research. I am not. Am I foolish enough to stand in here and say, come and get me? I'm not gonna stand in here and say, come and get me. I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna stand in here and say, come and get me.
Because you're not quite sure.
No.